Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to today's edition of Rocket Launch Sports Picks. You know what today is. It is Wednesday. We got Game 4 of the NBA Finals. It is bound to be a very exciting matchup. My name's Jonathan. It's a pleasure to come to you live today. And if you're watching for the first time especially, a big welcome to you. We're glad to have you. Monday's picks in the NBA Finals was not so great. Now, yesterday in baseball, we'll go through it on Friday, 3 for 3, but Monday was not a hot day. Had some narrow misses. We start off with De'Aaron Fox over 14.5 points. He was able to get 12 points on 4 for 14. He did not shoot very well. He had one of those rough shooting games, but unbelievably enough, his teammates were able to help him recover. And you absolutely love to see that. Then we got Karl Anthony Towns with a double-double, 11 points and 8 rebounds. Now today, not going to be able to bring you the full box score, but just a recap of the game and just an overall recap of this series. It was very up and down yet again, a lot of things happening, but in the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing is that when a team gets down late in the game, they start making frantic plays. They start too many individual efforts, too many trying to force things through the defense. And I think we saw that a lot in the first couple games from the San Antonio Spurs and quite a bit in New York in Game 3 in the fourth quarter. But in the end of the day, you gotta love seeing some people step up in the clutch, making some big blocks, being able to get the big rebound. Those are some of the things you're not going to see in sports highlights, but in this kind of series with such back and forth and close games, they're so big. And you're seeing great physicality from both teams. A lot of things we love to see here. With that being said, here are the Game 4 picks. We're going to get right to it today. Again, not going to break down the full box score here today, but we got Jalen Brunson going less than 30.5 points and rebounds. Last but not least, we got Stephon Castle over 5.5 assists. We're going to go through a couple of the key trends from both of these teams and justify why both teams regressing at least towards their regular season stats are going to see these kinds of trends right here. Let's get into that. Jalen Brunson, he's been a huge player for the Knicks. Less than 30.5 points and rebounds. If you look at the first 3 games of the series, he actually did have less in Game 2, but was barely over in Game 1 and also Monday night in Game 3. But you can see throughout, he has done that in 5 out of 10 and also 9 out of 20. So overall, he has been able to get over this mark quite a bit. You can see, especially closer to the left-hand side of this middle graph with the last 20, some of those narrow margins that he was able to achieve the 30.5 points and rebounds by. He's typically not going to get much more than about 5 rebounds a game, which you expect. I mean, he's a point guard, but here's the biggest thing. We go to this next slide right here and talk about really what the biggest thing is. He is someone that typically distributes the ball a lot more than he has been. If you look at this, overall in this finals compared to the regular season, Jalen Brunson has less assists, more field goal attempts, but a lower field goal percentage in this finals than he does in the regular season. Now, what I'm showing you here on the left-hand side are the first 3 games of the finals. You can see he had 5 assists, 6 assists, and 2 assists. And that was Game 3, 2, and 1 respectively. But if you look over at his regular season stats, that's the second to last line on this chart, and his overall career stats, you can see that this season he has 6.8 assists per game, which, if you add the numbers together, 13 divided by 4, just over 4 assists a game, or 4.3 assists a game. So you can see less assists from Jalen Brunson than usual. And then you can also see that his average field goal attempts, or actually let's just start with the percentage first. That's usually what we want to indicate for efficiency. He's shooting 37% in this series. So if you do not know, NBA average is about 46% for a field goal percentage. Now, it's been about 44 or 45. It's fluctuated a little bit through the years, but right around 45, 46% is NBA average. You can see that in this regular season, he shot 46.7% from the field. And you can also see a much lower average than what you see in his field goal attempts. He averaged 20.9 field goal attempts in the regular season. Right here, he has taken 25 shots, and 31 shots. So when you look at that all in all, he's attempting more field goals and he is making less of them, or less percentage of them. And that's one of those things that's really, in my opinion, with all this Knicks talent, is really hurting them. That they are not making field goals at the clip that they should be making them. So Jalen Brunson is someone that I do expect in this game 3 to regress closer to towards those means, to be more of a distributor, to look for more passing opportunities, and only take higher percentage shots. Because again, you look back at the game 2, he was forcing quite a bit of shots and was making them. I felt like he was trying to do the same thing in the game 3, and he missed some key shots because of that. So again, expect him to take less shots, be more of a distributor, and therefore he'll go under 30.5 points and rebounds. That being said, we go to the other side and Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle is bound to go over 5.5 assists. Now you can see the right 3 bars in all 3 of these charts is the first 3 games of this series where he did not get it. But you can especially see in the 20-game chart right here that he did this in 9 straight games. So that's all 7 games of the Oklahoma City Thunder series, and then 2 games of that previous series against Minnesota to close it out. So you can see here, Stephon Castle has been quite a wizard with the assists, going consistently over 5.5 assists. Now, what can you attribute the NBA Finals and not getting over the assists to? Now, you can easily say the Knicks defense. You can easily say that, maybe he's just a little rattled in the finals, and I can agree with that. I mean, he's a young player. He's not that experienced in the finals, and it is absolutely easy to think that this is just too big of a stage for him. But this is also happening amongst his whole team. Now, yes, 67% hit rate on the season. That's more of a side note compared to what we're going through here. Look at those at the right-hand side of this slide right here. San Antonio shot 48.3% in the regular season. Here in the NBA Finals, that has gone down to 43%. That's a very, very significant, that's very significant. I mean, you're looking at about 90 field goals per game. You're talking about 4 or 5 less shots that they're making every game from the field. So when you think about that, let's say it's 4 less shots. Half of those are 2s and half of those are 3s. That is 10 points being left on the board every single game. But not just that, but we're also looking at the fact that those are also assists that are being left on the board. So if we're looking at those charts and we're seeing some of those 4 assist games or 5 assist games, and then we're seeing that San Antonio is missing a significant amount of shots every single game, that is one key factor that's holding him back from getting the typical amount of assists that he's getting, despite making the same kinds of plays. Now, admittedly, I didn't bring you the field goal numbers, but he's definitely turning into more of a shooter. He definitely has gotten some good looks in this series, but I am expecting that his team's field goal percentage is going to regress closer to the mean. And with his team's field goal percentage regressing closer to the mean, I do expect that Stephon Castle is going to be able to go over that 5.5 assist mark. And this is one of those things that, as an overall side note in this series, sometimes you go into a new series with a new series of matchups against a team and you start playing differently, you start doing things a little differently. As a coach, you take a little bit of a different approach. We're seeing a lot of very solid coaching from both Mike Brown and Mitch Johnson in this series. But we do expect that usually around game 4 or 5 that there's a regression towards the mean. And a regression towards the mean saying that as we go on in the series, you start to play more like your normal self. That is something that we do expect to see from the San Antonio Spurs and the New York Knicks. Just a little bit more of a regression towards normal. So again, with Jalen Brunson, with the different approach, the very shot-heavy approach he's taking in this series, and then also Stephon Castle losing some assists on teammates not making shots, We expect that to change here in Game 4, and therefore, those are the predictions for the day. Now, keep in mind, if you have not linked us up on Betr, code ROCKETUPSB will make these picks sweat-free. We got our props in the first 2 games of this series, struck out in Game 3. Let's see what we got here in Game 4. But if you sign up with the code ROCKETUPSB, you get this pick sweat-free. You put $50 on the pick, you expect to double your money. You don't double your money, you can put $50 more into Betr and take your next chance to double your money. That is a wrap on today. We will be back at it on Saturday. Saturday is game number 5 in San Antonio. Let's see what happens in New York. And drop down below. Do you think San Antonio is going to tie up the series, or will New York take command going to San Antonio where they already won the first 2 games of the series? It's going to be very interesting. I cannot wait. I'm very excited. Let's get after it and launch with purpose.